I guess, I don't know if it's a secondary motion or amendment, or delay the whole thing until we could get more information about this or think this through a little more clearly. So I'm not sure procedurally how to do it. I'd be ready to go ahead, but if voting on...
There we go. But, you know, I have to tell you, I'm getting really nervous about making a really significant decision at this late hour. And did I hear, would Monday, October 3rd still be reasonable?
Oh.
I mean,
hold on.
I'm just suggesting that you consider...
Hold on. I think there is a possibility that we could move forward and cut out some of the meeting and complete our work if people would wish to. Hello? Knock, knock. I'm prepared to go ahead and make a motion if people would.
Make your motion.
Make your motion.
Okay, well, I'm moving on the preliminary qualification approval for K-8 facilities. I move that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent of schools to contact the school district's bond counsel firm of Troon Law Firm PC, East Lansing, Michigan, to schedule a meeting with the Department of Treasury to seek preliminary qualification approval for a bond proposal to be placed on the February 28, 2012 ballot, and further, to authorize the school district's architectural firm and construction management firm to begin to prepare the draft preliminary qualification application upon determination by the Board of Education of the scope of the projects to be included in the bond proposition. The scope of the project would include the following. Number 1, to relocate the 6th grade to McDonald Middle School. Number 2, to reconfigure Donnelly, Glencairn, Pinecrest, White Hills, and Marble to K-5 elementary buildings. Number 3, to consider other options for the future use of the Red Cedar site when it is no longer in use as an East Lansing elementary school. Number 4, to include K-12 technology improvements as provided by Clark Construction and Tower Pinkster Architects. Number 5, to include renovations and additions to the middle school and 5 elementary schools to be funded with the proceeds of a bond issue not to exceed $53 million.
Second.
Does moving ahead on this motion preclude exploring at a date other than tonight the option of a second series?
I don't.
Council? Okay.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Can I ask where this motion came from?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm looking at an agenda that has an action item in 5D, which has a preliminary qualification approval for K-8 facilities, which I believe was the motion, the first part of the motion that we passed at the earlier meeting, and then attached to that motion was an Exhibit A, resolution to accept option for K-8 facilities. And at least as I understood the motion you just made, it doesn't attach Exhibit A.
So you changed, Rima?
My understanding was that I was free, or anyone was free, to create a motion tonight, that was a working motion from September 8, and that this was perfectly within the realm of what was appropriate.
What was the total again?
To be funded with the proceeds of a bond issue not to exceed $53 million.
So the difference between what passed on September 8th and your proposal tonight includes, what are the major points of difference?
Well, the dollar amount is different, and what I was proposing is to use $5 million in funds on hand from our sinking fund, which we have already, and to also use $2 million from the sinking fund by way of making 4 regular draws of $500,000 apiece each year for 4 years. That gives us $7 million towards the project. And we also, as we talked about in the Finance Committee, we requested that the architect and the construction team look at possibly reducing the scope of the project, and that is the document that you have before you. And my understanding is, and Ted can speak to this if you like, that they have been able to reduce the cost of the project by approximately $5 million by reducing renovation costs to structures that would remain in the 5 buildings by approximately $10 per square foot, as well as reducing the approximate square footage per student from 160 square feet per student to 154 square foot per student.
Are these the numbers that are included in what Dr.
Yes.
Chapin provided us with tonight?
Yes.
And reflective of the discussion at the Finance Committee meeting?
Yes.
Well, they're only broadly reflective, they're just in concept,
didn't
but
say-
we have not.
That's why I said
Right.
not to exceed $53 million.
Rima, but there's additional items that were in the Exhibit A that are no longer in your.
I know. I was uncomfortable with some of the proposals for school uses to be defined for Red Cedar, and that's why I didn't include them. And I agree that we should direct the administrative team to, according to Dave's proposal, move the Red Cedar faculty and principal and students, but I thought that was better said in a different proposal and not in the scope of project tonight.
Point of order, do we have a second to be carrying on this discussion?
Pardon?
We don't have a second
Yes, we
on
did.
your...
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have
I
a second.
second.
We did.
Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't heard
okay.
down here, Jay.
That's okay.
Jay Todd. It really is helpful for us down here if you can try to remember to speak into your
I'm sorry.
microphone. Thank you.
Sorry, I second the motion.
Thank you.
I think I'd like to have Mr. Rice-Camp explain what are the actual items that would go into a reduction of the cost from your original projections. What does it mean to go from X number of square feet to the lower number? Is the higher number now standard or the expectation for best practices? And are we, going back to a lower number just to save, dollars, and yet we're not really meeting student need?
Well, we are going back to a lower number to try to save some dollars to just, talking to Tower Pinkster about it this afternoon. We kind of worked at a compromise. We had looked at the buildings at one time at 155 square foot per student, but that due to the size of the building, they felt they should be up near 160. So with conversation this afternoon, I said, couldn't we looking to get it down to, something that the chore put in front of us.